Fam, I can never find us on Rumble. I never know how it works, so I can share
It's
the
the
link.
Combo Couch, one word, fam.
Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense.
You don't make any sense.
And even then, like I don't find it. I don't see it on there.
All right.
Yeah, it's not on there.
Here's fam. Oh my lord. Oh, fam. Fam, what am I gonna do?
It's not on there. I'm looking at it right
Fam,
now.
what am I gonna have? I'm gonna send it in the private chat over here on the stream links thing.
I am just
there
telling
you go.
when I look it up, it doesn't show.
The Combo Couch, one word.
I can't do anything with that because I don't have access to Twitter on that computer.
That's not Twitter. It's not a Twitter thing. It's StreamYards.
I know, but I was tweeting it out. So
okay. If you get on StreamYards, you can just click on that, and it will give you the Rumble.
But why am I not seeing it on here?
I don't know. I find it pretty easy, and I'm the boomer here, ladies and gentlemen.
I know. It's not there. It's weird.
Fam, I don't know if you know this. Welcome back to the Combo Couch, everybody. I am Pastor Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella, and I have to deal with this shit, you know?
All right, so saddle up and ride, fam. Fam.
What does that mean?
Saddle up and ride. The rodeo is in town.
Who cares?
Fam, I am going to. They've already put a few bucks in the cookie jar for me. They on my Cash App right there, and whatever money I get right there, there's my Pastor Jardula. It's my Cash App. Whatever I get, fam, I'm going to go towards my outfit, and I'm ready to wear the cowboy hat, the bolo tie, the boots. Fam, I'm going to go find me a nice country girl tonight. I'm going to drink Jack and Coke at the bar. There's a comedy show. Brett Ernst is playing. I'm going to get rodeoed up, fam.
This is why I didn't go to Vegas.
Fam, be careful with the banging of the table because you hear everything.
I'm not banging the table at all. I'm literally just went like this, leaning on the table.
You know, fam, everybody knows when you get fired up, it's fired up fee. Well, Paul Hines would say fired up Fifi.
Yeah, no.
No, not at all.
He knows I hate that. No.
Okay. Guys, once again, if you got a few bucks left in the cookie jar, that's the wrong one. We put it up here. Sorry. GiveSendGo.com, the Combo Couch Brazil. Some people sent some love through when we were doing the show the other day with Addy Ads, his experience in Brazil. Then we were talking about the election, talking about what's going on. We tweeted at Tucker Carlson. He still hasn't had me on. I had a show prepared today, guys. Wanted to talk about the NED in China and what's going on. Pretty much what Fam and I talked about yesterday, a couple days ago. But we had scheduled the Libertarian chair, Angela McCardle. She went into labor today, so she was not able to make the show. But congratulations on her. Going to have her first child. We have a nice conversation. She's a fan of the Combo Couch, and she's one of the libertarians that have kind of focused on the anti-imperialist left and making those bonds and building those bridges. We also had Mel K scheduled for today and Don DeBar. Those three, Don DeBar, he's got some. I'd let him explain his own position, but he's been down to the global south and stood with Sandinistas and understand what's going on down there. His foreign policy is right up there. Mel K is I would say a patriot, America First person, but she's very independent-minded thinking. She knows a lot about the NED. So with a lot of those people going, when I say those people, with a lot of the Steve Bannon's, Jack Posobiec's, and all these other Alex Jones blaming China, blaming communism. Like I said, I didn't sleep well over the weekend, and I wanted to have a great conversation about what was going on. We're going to reschedule that for next week. Don't know how long out until Angela can get back on the show because she just did go into labor today. Congratulations to her.
Yeah. The fact that she was still doing stuff up until the point she was in labor is amazing. That would be me.
Fam, what are you saying?
I'm saying that would be me. Like I wouldn't
having a baby or
stop working.
Oh,
if I had a baby, I wouldn't stop working.
So if you had a baby, fam, don't scare people. Okay, guys.
No, I'm not pregnant. Yeah.
Listen, guys, there's only 15 people on the Rockfin because we're on Rockfin Premium. What we're going to try to do in the here and there is we're going to try to go to Rockfin Premium. We're not going to put it behind a paywall. You can watch the whole show, whatever we do on Rumble. Most of it on YouTube. If we talk elections or COVID, we're going to get off there and just be on Rumble only. So Rumble will be the free platform right now. We want
if you can find it.
Yes. I'm going to share the links again. I'm going to share it in the YouTubes. And I don't
Yeah.
know why we are combo couch one word. That's just so.
Who did that? Was that you?
No,
Can it be changed?
I think so.
Okay. That might be a better idea to change it.
I'm gonna change it, but we'll always put the links up right there. There's the links up, Rumble, the combo couch. Go check us out, guys. Go subscribe to that channel over there. Let's help us boost that algorithm. We got 33 people watching over there. I'm sure we're going to get more with that thumbnail today, fam. Let's just get into it. Jimmy Dore's going on at 1, so we want to get done before him. You know, Jimmy's coming on the show on Tuesday, guys. If you don't know, we already going to have we have a libertarians and anti-imperialist left panel ready to rock and roll. And we're going to do that coming up. Fam, yesterday, which compelled you to come run into the show today.
Yeah. I wasn't going to be on the show today.
That's why I had the panel plan, but you know what?
Yeah.
When fam says we're going to do it live, we do it live, fam. So Ye was on yesterday, fam, and Ye kind of shook up the world.
Mm-hmm.
And should we just jump into it? Do you want to provide a little context?
Do you have the video? Did you put the video link on there?
I have several clips from several videos. This is the one,
Okay.
the Hitler one. So we can go to each one and
so we're gonna listen.
Ready.
We're gonna watch what he says, and then we're gonna talk about it because I have a very strong opinion on this stuff. Like, and right off the bat, you know, he does praise Hitler, and he says we shouldn't hate Nazis. I disagree with that entirely. I mean, I'm not one to call everybody.
He doesn't say we shouldn't hate Nazis. What he does say, we'll play, is that there's love for every human being on the planet. Now, don't get me wrong, Sam.
I heard what he said, and I did not take it to mean that. That's your interpretation is. So we're going to discuss that because we have two very different interpretations of what that.
Yeah, we have to see that. Well,
yeah. So why don't we just listen to it?
You know, see, fam vetoes me, and we're going right to listen to it. Guys, Combo Couch, you know what to do.
Hoo-ah.
And nobody.
No, I'm just trying to
offer shit about the fucking Marmot.
Let's share it up. Let's like it. Rumble, Rockfin. We're going to have a great show today. This is Ye talking about Hitler.
You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician, you can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good. And I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
You're not a Nazi.
Bam. I'll let you jump right in.
All right. So,
I need to get pen and paper out for this because I'm.
All right. So, first of all, when Kanye was being criticized and called, saying that he was an anti-Semite, I disagreed with the criticisms against him because I didn't think he was being an anti-Semitic. I thought he was being anti-Zionist. And there's a difference between anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist. You can't criticize Jewish people in the United States of America because you literally get called an anti-Semite. You can't criticize the lobby. You can't criticize what they're doing to Palestinians. You can't criticize any of this stuff. When he starts pointing out that, you know, these contracts and what they do, he's talking about Hollywood. He's talking about the movie industry, the production industry, which there is a large portion of people of Jewish heritage that work there. However, without specifying that you're talking about certain people using their power to exploit, that means you're generalizing an entire group of people. And if it was anybody, I wouldn't be okay with that because you're generalizing an entire group of people. And I think it's a very dangerous line he was treading, but nonetheless, I thought he should be allowed to speak. And I still don't think he should be taken off Twitter like he was taken off because there's actual Nazis on Twitter right now and they're allowed to spew whatever they want to say. I don't think Kanye West is a Nazi. I don't think Kanye West is a fascist. I think he's a person seeking attention. And I think he's a person that's not mentally okay. I'm not a doctor, but he's obviously reacting to something. So that's that on that end. On the end where he says there are good things, especially about Hitler, I understand his point of saying, well, you can never say anything good about a bad person, like, you know, some bad people, blah, blah, blah. But the way he says it, he said especially Hitler, like he has done a great good to the world. And that's how people are going to take it, whether or not it's what he means. He's saying that there are more good things that we should be looking at. And I just don't see it that way because I'm ideologically against fascism and what Hitler did and what anybody, because I think Hitler is put as this guy that, he killed 6 million people. He wasn't the only guy that's done that in history. We have the United States government, we have other entities that have killed millions and millions of people, and they don't get to be Hitler. We have George Bush, we have Barack Obama. These people that have murdered millions of people, they don't get put out to be Hitler. And that's the hypocrisy that I think a lot of people resonate with. Oh, wow, he's pointing this out. And people, people are so outraged. And it's obviously going to have a visceral effect to somebody of Jewish heritage. But for me, it's more of like, yeah, I don't agree with what he's saying. I think what he's saying is terrible. And what he's saying is very generalizing of an entire group of people. Do I think he should be, thrown off the entire world for it? No, I think there are issues with him. But I don't agree that there's something good about somebody that did so much damage. And I would say the same thing about any war criminal, whether it's Hitler, whether it's George Bush, whether it's Obama. I don't see the good in what these people, and by the way, Hitler literally took people and exterminated them, not just under the guise of foreign policy and sending out his minions, but like literally had a whole dedication, Mein Kampf, to how these people are less than human. So to try to poise it as like, oh, well, we should see the good in everybody. Not only do I think that's naive, I think it's ignorant and really dangerous, because I think that at that point you start trying to, you can be tolerant, but at the same time, like you're tolerant of a lot of people's views. That doesn't mean you have to shift your view to fit that person. That person can speak, but you can also condemn that speech. I'm not saying he should be censored. I'm saying some of the things he says should have pushback. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Let me get on this real quick like that. So at the end of the day, what's his point of view is what I'm trying to figure out, and what's going on, what I'm seeing. Now, when this whole thing started, when he was on Tucker, I made the comments that, yeah, I wasn't really moved there. Yes, he did talk about when he said the Jews, and he didn't say the Zionists, and a lot of people were like, why don't you point that out and straighten that out? And I understood that too as well, because I think everybody wants to get hung up on like, oh, we're talking about a marginalized group, but it's not what Kanye's alluding to over here. And it's not what this is all about, really. And at the end,
how do you know what he's alluding to?
I'm going to give you my personal opinion real quick about what he's alluding to. So let me get to it. He wants to talk about what's not allowed to be talked about. He's pushing back against the double standard and the hypocrisy in which, you can't talk about certain things and talk against a protected class. And he's kind of just putting it out there. I mean, he's putting it out in a very, very crazy way. And as we put these clips up, it's evident to me that he's saying, well, he's not only he's exposing what the elites going on, because what do the elites want at the end of the day? They want to control speech. They want to suppress speech. They don't want anybody getting out of line. You cannot talk about certain things, and you can only talk about other things. I mean, they want to control speech like there's no tomorrow. We always say, you want to know who the laws are made of? Look at who you can't criticize. That's who makes the laws out there.
You think Kanye cares about that, though? You think he's doing this because he's trying to expose the elites? He is an elite.
No, he has handlers of the elites. He's not an elite.
What is an elite
to
you?
He's definitely not the one sitting at the table making all the rules and stuff. They allowed him to exist and to shine because the elites gave him that gift, and now he's pushing back against it. He's not an elite, because if he was an elite, he wouldn't have had his bank account cut off the way it has. You know what I'm saying? He's a product.
He's got tons of money, though.
That doesn't make him an elite. They've just cut him off from his banking. The elites.
Okay, to me, an elite has a ton of money and power. He has money and power. He's not like Klaus Schwab, but he has money and power.
That's not what defines elite to me. The elites are the ones who are, the elites are the ones who are making the rules, pulling the strings. They're the ones who make the money, the actual fiscal money. They're the ones who are pulling his bank account. That's what's going on, and that's who he's pushing back against and showing them. He even says in one of these clips coming up about he used to sing a song. I wonder when the Clintons are coming to kill me. You know, like he would say that. He's exposing the elites themselves, and he's exposing what he is calling the Zionist class. And up in this next clip over here, will show the way where he shows the double standards. Oh, you can't talk about Hitler. You can't talk about this guy. You can't say anything good enough. Now, first of all, fam, I don't believe that Hitler invented the microphone. And
didn't.
Just because they did the Autobahn doesn't mean they invented highways.
They were the Germans during that time, and I will say this, and I've said this before, and I got into it with my brother about you can't say that the Nazis were actually very much advanced when it came to the railroad, not the railroad, the systems of transportation, systems of city building, progressive ideas. They were very advanced. I can say that without saying Hitler has good and Nazis have good. I can say that like flat out. This is some of the things that they said. But before we get to the next clip, I just want to say, I don't think Kanye is this fighter that is like taking on the elites. I think he is a paid propagandist. I think he's genuinely somebody that's been manipulated by an elite group of people, whether they're producers, Hollywood folk, politicians. Yes, he's been manipulated, but the guy is like, goes to Trump. He's totally a showman. He does a lot of things for publicity. If you look at his record, everything the dude does is for attention and publicity. There is nothing genuine about what he's doing right now. This is an attention-seeking behavior, and it's just very clear because he's being talked about by literally everybody in the world, for better or worse. And the one thing you know about public relations is that any sort of publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter if it's bad. It doesn't matter if it's good. And I hate that people are making him some sort of martyr, some sort of like, oh, he's taking on these elites and he's fighting and blah, blah, blah. He's exposing people. That's not what that's not his mission. He's just out there saying what he wants to say, and whatever causes controversy. It's people putting these things on him.
I
like
disagree.
People putting their points of view on, oh, I think he's exposing people, blah, blah, blah. He's just had somebody that gets to that level of being a billionaire and having this much money and influence isn't just automatically like Elon Musk. They're not just going to automatically become these, vanguards and martyrs of the working class and people and taking on the elites. He's not. And he's going to disappoint you guys soon because that's just how it works. Okay. And I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen somebody like that with that much money and that much influence betray. And I think this is all part of a giant show where he's just saying whatever, the Kanye show, whatever he wants, and that's that. It's not that deep. It's not that deep at all. He's not trying to be some sort of like martyr or anything.
I disagree with you. And when this thing first started with Tucker, the first thing I did, it was funny because when Steve was like, look at this, Steve was like, holy cow, look what he's saying. And I'm like, dude, once again, he's got to always make it about himself, his narcissistic self. It's always him, the victim and whatnot.
It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like he's just doing this for the Kanye show. I feel he's doing this because he's a man with nothing to lose at this point. The stuff he says in this interview, and we're going to go on, even though he does it in a crazy, joking way with the whole outfit on, it's like, holy shit, he might not be alive in a couple days. Like literally, I say some of that stuff. And I also think about, this is really what I've been thinking about more than anything is the USS Liberty, right? About like who's pulling the strings, what's going on. Watch what he says in this next clip coming up. And then when he goes after Netanyahu, fam, I mean, I have changed a little bit. I was always like, whatever. What has Kanye said that Minister Farrakhan hasn't said about, geopolitically about the state of Israel? And Minister Farrakhan said it in such a more, I'd say, politically correct way, even though he got tortured because you can't speak out, against Zionists. But what he's been doing now and the way people are seeing this, I think there's going to be a lot of conversation. People are going to look down a lot of rabbit holes. There's and he's also saying some stuff too as well. He says in this next clip coming up, just let's get to the next clip. Let me pull it on up really quickly. But I don't believe he's doing this for himself, fam. I just believe he's doing this because he's very hurt. He's very not mentally stable. I think
that
he's
is for himself,
what's going on. But I feel he's like, fuck it. This is a man who's got nothing to lose. Well, whether he's doing it for himself or not, it's where the conversation and the information that comes out that's also important. Remember when Donald Trump said, I'm not, these generals want endless wars. There's a military industrial complex, but I don't want that. He might not have meant that. He might have said that for political gain, but people were having
I think what he's doing has the opposite effect. It's actually hurting the conversation, because now people are going to associate any sort of questioning of the establishment with somebody like that. And I think that's what, if anything, if there's some sort of conspiracy to it, it's to make people like us who actually question things legitimately be associated with people like that. And I think that is the more nefarious thing that would happen, not just him just doing it out of the kindness of his heart.
Like associated, like, because now if we say something in a way that we say, okay, we like what Kanye said, then we can get demonized.
No, not even that. Like, because I would never say that I like what he says, because I disagree with it on a fundamental level. But even just saying something like he should be allowed to say what he says, and you said it starts the conversation down rabbit holes. What rabbit holes? That like the world is controlled by a bunch of Jews? I mean, to me, that's a dangerous rabbit hole to go in. You can go down that rabbit hole, but I think saying things like that without any context damages the reality. Like when we had Cynthia Chung on, she talked about the Masonic influence and how that's going to come out in her second book, and how sometimes people get too into the societies and the secrecy that they miss the entire point, that this is not just like a bunch of people like this, like just pulling the strings. This is more complex and more nuanced. So when you make it, because I've been seeing that more, Pasta, I've been seeing more people be like, oh, well, these are all just a bunch of this and that. And like, there is a point where you have to be like, all right, well, you can say whatever you want, but no, this is not how things work, because they simplify everything. It's just a reductive analysis where you're like, oh, these four people just own and manipulate everything. And I think that's very lazy thinking. Oh, everything's theater, nothing's real. Like, it's just a very doomer sort of like reality where that's just not the way the world works. Like, yeah, a lot of people have power is concentrated in a lot of people, but when you're just pointing fingers at one group of people and you're not really talking about the intricacies of that and the battles that are going on between these groups of people, you're missing a large point of the spear. And I feel like that's where he's going. And that's why a lot of certain people that are extremely that are actually anti-Semitic, not us and not other people that criticize Zionist and Zionist Israel and the inequality that you can't even talk about things because you get labeled anti-Semitic. You should be able to talk about things, but how
much power do you think the state of Israel has in its leaders when they're in charge? In other words, we were talking this morning, fam, that Netanyahu was just conveniently stepped out of power before all the vaccination programs went into Israel. And then when that shit blew up and everybody was pointing at that, now he comes right back into power. So now you can't even point him at the finger at him if there's any mishaps on that whole end. You know what I'm saying? It went on the 4 different rotating Israeli prime ministers. Now Netanyahu comes right back into power and he's whisked free of that. How much power does he have? And that's why I talk about the USS Liberty at times, and we look at it and stuff like, all right, there's something going on behind the scenes. Of course, that's that one whole class of people. And I know plenty of people, Jewish people back east, not as many. The majority, I think, are pro-Israel and pro-Zionist, but I know some that are anti-Zionist. You know, the first person who told me that Palestine has a right to exist was a rabbi. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, but geopolitically, the Rothschilds, the banking industry, how much power do they have? And I think a lot of people do feel that they have that way. They just are afraid to say that shit because they know their paycheck depends upon it.
Yeah, they're powerful, but they're not the only power. And that's what I'm saying. Like, to say, oh, it's all like when people, like when I say, for example, when we talk about Lula, even just that, like even that reaction, oh no, he's WEF, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, he's da. They don't really have any evidence. They don't really have any analysis of it. They literally just saw one picture of him with Klaus Schwab, and that's what they're doing. That is what he's doing on another level. And I just think it's very lazy. And I think it actually discredits the work that it's kind of with the elections. When you say, oh, this is bamboo paper from China and Hugo Chavez is manipulating these machines and China is influencing Lula and China has Biden, you're literally like, you're making it harder for people who are saying, hey, our elections are shit. We do need to have a whole new election system. Our election system is corrupt. Our elections aren't fair. It makes our job harder. So I think people like Kanye doing this, people like Alex Jones, all these people that are like
We don't watch enough
controversial,
of those
I think they're
shows
there for a
anyways.
reason.
Yeah, but we don't watch
Okay,
enough of those shows. Those guys have a little bit
but
more
from what
opinion than the little clips that we see and we watch.
But
We're
they
only
do
watching.
everything they do is for sensationalism. Do you not see, like, they take half truths and then they mesh the truth with like a bunch of bullshit. So then it makes it harder. And I think that's the reason that not all these people, but some of these people are there.
I think that their truths are just wrong on a lot of situations. When we talk about Alex Jones, it's like Cynthia Chung said on the show the other day. This is not the first time they played blame a communist for everything.
Yeah.
Like this is the same program, and I think it's awful. And I saw a certain person on Twitter yesterday to put some stuff and was like talking about globalists and says we won't allow this, you commie scum. It's like, okay, like that's divisive shit. And I believe that Alex Jones, when he talks about communism, he talks about this whole kind of like American exceptionalist vision of it that wants to make sure that communists hate capitalists and capitalists hate communists, and it's part of the whole divide. He's not understanding. He's not gone down to the global south. He's not gone down to Latin America and see the economic Marxism and the fact that they're pushing back in a collective manner against the empire that has their boot on their neck. In other words, a lot of the communist Marxism and socialists we see is a reaction to the actions of the American empire. And that has to come into play. And it also has to be described that it's an economic movement, what we saw, not a cultural or social movement. And that's the danger of what's going on, of what Alex Jones is planting right now. Because a lot of people are like, screw you, commie, whatever commie, you know, all the American, and they don't even know what a commie really is. They think a commie is what they see in America. So I do think they are wrong. But I do think they are right in a lot of ways. And I think what Kanye is kind of pointing out over here, the whole point of it's about freedom of speech. It's about saying what you should be able to say. And then he doubles down and we'll go into how he got taken down. I think he proves something there. I don't think he's a genius, fam, but I do think he has some points to be made here that freedom of speech should be reigning supreme over everything. And the fact is they will use certain demonizing tactics to make sure that you don't talk out against the ruling class.
But he could have said all of that without saying the controversial shit he said for a reason. He could have.
We had a 4-hour show yesterday, so it was like there's a lot of stuff he follows up with. So, you know, I agree.
But, yeah.
I'm not gonna critique the way the guy's saying it. He said it. That's him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna look about what was said and what impact it has. And believe you me, fam, up until now recently, you know how I felt about Kanye.
If he said it about Italians, would you be okay with it?
What do you mean?
Just as okay with it? If he said
but Italians aren't a protected
Jews
class,
and like Mussolini,
but Italians are not a protected class.
But if they were, that's what I'm saying. Even if they were, I mean, I'm just saying there's a reason people are reacting to this differently.
Look at Norman Finkelstein, right? Look at Max Blumenthal. Look at these people who are Jewish and have the gall and the guts to speak out against their own class. If I was Italian and if Italians were being a protected class and we were doing the same actions geopolitically that Israel's doing, of course I would be okay with it.
That's different though. I'm all for that. I'm not talking about Zionism. I'm talking about what's the word? How he's rehabilitating like Nazism and Hitler. And so just like the liberals, which is going to be my next point, liberals rehabilitate war criminals. Liberals are literally funding and arming Nazis. That's like one of the main points that I have with this whole thing, that people are so angry at him, but the liberals are doing far worse. And not just the liberals, the American government as a whole, made up of both parties. So,
I mean, here's the thing. Listen. What did Germany and I don't want to say Hitler, but what did they do for socialism? What are you
talking about?
I once heard somebody in a room say, well, there is one positive thing that came out of Hitler's regime. And I said, what was that? And he goes, well, what about the socialist policies in which helped rebuild the people inside of Germany?
Are you serious, Pasta?
I'm not saying that. Somebody said this before though. And then what I'm trying to say is that, but what I'm trying to say is, let me get to what I'm trying to say is that the Republicans or the conservatives will always use Hitler's party to demonize socialism. They'll always combine it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, they will. But you just use that example in a really bad way, because we just had Cynthia Chung and she was like talking about how that wasn't socialism. They purposely called themselves the National Socialist Party,
Exactly.
but they were advocating fascism. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So what? I don't understand your point then, I guess.
What I'm saying is that they'll still use they'll use conservatives will use the socialist argument. Now, what Cynthia explained is that what people they don't understand, that they don't know that, but they'll use that to demonize any type of socialism whatsoever by connecting it to Germany, right? And I'm just saying that's a tactic, right? That they weren't really criticizing the socialism itself. They weren't criticizing the life of a German under Hitler. You know what I'm saying? They're criticizing the fact that it's part of Nazism and trying to combine the two together. That is a tactic
because it wasn't trying to combine the two together. It was them using that on purpose to themselves vilify socialism because they were fighting the fascists are diametrically opposed.
So what I'm saying is that if it's a bad person or a bad leader or a bad whatever, they'll use whatever to tie it to that person and not have those conversations because you can't speak about that because it's Hitler.
Okay, I'm still not 100% sure, but why don't we move on because we have
we're getting tied up over here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he had a really cool outfit and stuff, and he was a really good architect. And
so you're in love with the look of it.
And he didn't kill 6 million Jews. That's just like factually incorrect.
Guys, get the Ronald Reagan clip they showed me yesterday. Sorry, go ahead. Ronald Reagan said that too. Well, I think Hitler did target and kill some people. So I think
I think Obama killed Palestinians.
No, I hear you. Here's where I think the frustration is. And Nick, you can comment on this.
And Obama was not the first black president. He was another Jewish president. You know, it's like he had a really cool outfit and stuff, and he was a really good architect.
Okay.
And Obama killed a bunch of Palestinians. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So somebody that wears what he's wearing, covers his whole face up. You're going to tell me they're not doing this for attention, that they're not doing this to like stand out and cause controversy? You don't dress like that and try to draw attention to yourself because you're not trying to draw attention. I'm pointing that out because it matters in the context of what we're talking about. Because you're saying he's doing this.
What do you think? Why do you think he does wear the outfit?
And I'm saying no.
Why do you think he's wearing the outfit? Just for attention?
Yeah, I mean, not just attention. I mean, it's obviously attention, but it's obviously whatever issues are going on through him. I mean, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to comment on.
I think he's trying to protect himself. I think he feels hidden and stuff. He feels like he can say more with that outfit on than if he didn't have it on. And I'm not. Once again, I don't think this is a mentally.
That's your
sane
opinion.
person.
You're analyzing why
it's all
he's wearing
black
stuff.
and it's all covering him, and so
But this isn't the first time he does this stuff like this all the time. Like that's what I'm saying. Like consistently, Kanye has been like this. I mean, he's one of the most popular artists of my generation. This is what he does all the time. So that's why I don't think this is anything new. But saying things like Hitler didn't kill 6 million Jews. I'm sorry. I don't know how anyone can defend that. I mean, I don't know. Do I think it's as bad as people actually funding and arming Nazis in Ukraine? No, I don't. But saying stuff like that, trying to defend that as how is that exposing elites? That's not exposing elites. That's just him saying something controversial. I don't think he actually thinks these things. I think he's literally saying this stuff because he's like trying to cause controversy. Maybe he believes it, but I really think it's more of like him just trying to be controversial. So I don't get as angry as people who really think, oh my God, he thinks this. But I just think it's really dumb. And I think it's first of all, it's inaccurate. Saying that 6 million people didn't die because of this. It's revisionism, and it's ridiculous that he can say that and people are like, oh, it's fine. Like, no, it's not fine. I mean, he should be able to say, we should hear it so people can respond to it. I'm not for censoring him, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. He's just exposing elites. Like, I just think that's a very.
What about the Obama killed the Palestinians comment?
Obama killed the Palestinians, yeah, but then he goes and so this is what I'm talking about, right? He says a couple of things that are truthful. Mm-hmm. Obama killed Palestinians and did all this, but Obama was the Jewish president. So then that sort of like discredits what he's saying. And I know what he could mean. He could be like, maybe he was controlled by the establishment, which he thinks are all are Jews, blah, blah, blah. But then you have like a bunch of like let's be real, neocons are Christian evangelicals. Why isn't he talking about
What
that?
do you
I mean,
mean
it's
that
just
Obama
very
was a Jew
lazy.
himself?
He said Obama wasn't
Yeah,
the
but what
first
does he
black
mean?
president. He was the
He was a
first
Jew.
Jewish president.
What does he mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think he may mean that. Like he was doing the bidding of his master. I don't know because I'm not Kanye, but that's what he could mean. Like he was the first, it's just kind of like
I was thinking
I
about
get
what Obama's economic policies were completely controlled by Wall Street, right? They were controlled by the
Yeah.
Larry Summers, the Timothy Geithners. Like he had to hire them. He had to hire all Citibank people. So I think that's what he was alluding to when he said that. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
that's
About the
above.
fact that
You're giving
remember
him
the
way too
famous
much credit.
Obama letter that said that you have to hire all these people?
Yeah.
I think that's what he was alluding to, that like the connections in Wall Street.
But you think it's cool to say that though? Like to say
I don't
that
think
all
it's
these
cool to say anything. I'm saying that's what he was alluding to.
I think that's too. I mean, I think you're giving him too much credit for that, but maybe.
I don't know. I'm guessing here, but let's take a look at this one, fam. This is the one that I think a lot of people went, holy shite.
I was tired of picking up the Yahoo and the netting. So for now, it's just netting. I know some people call him BB. No, some people call him Yahoo, but we're going to call him netting. What you want, netting? Hey, yay, right after this, I'm going to say you're crazy. I'm going to take your family away from you. We're not done with you yet. You cannot cause free thought. We have to control the history books. We have to control the banks. And we have to go and kill people. Also, we're in the
So, in a little while, hopefully, you're going to take the mask off because is this actually gay here?
I was tired of picking up the Yahoo.
Go ahead, fam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's mentally there.
But what was said? They got to punish you if you speak out, if you say anything against them. They're going to control the banks. They're going to control the history books. I mean, he's accusing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. But I'm just saying, all of this stuff he's saying, this is why I hate it so much. Because all this stuff he's saying, anti-imperialists have been saying for fucking decades. That they're rewriting history, that the people in power, the imperialists are revisionists, right? That they're not talking about all the colonization, like how they paint Christopher Columbus, how they paint all this and all of that, all the stuff that they've been saying for years. Now they're gonna say, oh, that's how you feel. Oh, look, Kanye's saying the same thing, and he's blaming Jews. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Like, there's a difference between talking about history revisionism and people controlling things and censoring us in the national surveillance state and all of that, and then just saying it's only the Jews. Yes, they are a protected class. Yes, you can't speak out in a lot of ways, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I fight this every day, and I see the differences in the newsroom because some people are pro-Zionist and some of us are pro-Palestinian. And and it's really it gets on my nerves when people try to say there's two sides to this, and I don't believe there are two sides. I believe the Palestinians are being killed, and I believe this is genocide by Israel. But that's entirely, I think there's a line where you're just saying, you get to the point where there is such a thing as anti-Semitism, and I think it discredits anti-Zionism when you muddle the two too much, when you don't put out those differences, when you're just literally generalizing everything. And I think that is done by design, because there have been so many inroads made in this fight against Zionism. And I think that's why there has to be that pushback. It's never just about the counter narrative. It's about the counter narrative to the counter narrative, and maybe another counter narrative to that counter narrative. It's not just this simple, oh, he's exposing the elites. Why is he allowed to say these things? Why is Alex Jones allowed to say these things? Why? But there are other people that get censored and completely put offline, and they're not allowed to say more nuanced points of views, because nuance is where the truth lies. And you don't need controversial things that are completely just out there to try just to get attention. Sure. But that's really what divides us. It's those controversies where people on one end, like, with Kanye and what he said, now things are going to get worse for those who actually criticize who criticize Zionism and the control of Zionism, because it's just going to get worse. It is. All of the things that we have said are going to get worse, and I think that's why he's just a useful idiot for that.
I don't know about that. First of all, I have a little sympathy too as well for Kanye now, what he's going through. I never did before, but when I saw the handler's letter, the gym guy who was supposed to be his trainer, when he released, like, dude, if you don't shut the fuck up, we're gonna throw you back inside a home and keep you more fucking sedated than ever before. I mean, and what he talks about with the Clintons all the time, and how he found out, like pretty much that Kim had a direct line, and he would hear Clinton's call all the time. There's got to be some traumatic shit going on over here with these people. I saw Britney Spears the other day, just doing whatever she's doing. I think that these people who are chosen to be the superstars, the performers, the elites, whatnot, some of them really go through some traumatic shit coming out. And like I said, I'm just looking at this as a man who's got nothing to lose at this point. And that's what I'm seeing. And I am seeing some, forms of discussions being had from the things he is saying, Here is one of them. Maybe I'm wrong. Take a look at this one right here. I'm going to try to make it bigger. That's what she said. But pretty much, my bad. This is from Riza Islam. Just a question. Did the U.S. government call the Nazis evil when they brought them over here to develop weapons, cars, Benz, and V-2 rockets for the Apollo 11 moon landing through NASA? Werner von Braun. And then he also says chemical nerve agents to be used in future wars or Krispy Kremes. That's what Brother Islam has to say. It blows my mind that how many do not know about the Project Paperclip. The U.S. literally brought Nazi scientists here after World War II, changed their names, hired them for areas like the Department of Defense, Science, Tech, Education. The government does not hate Hitler. It reveres him, fam.
Yeah, that's the point, though.
And that's what that's what Riza Islam is bringing out after this whole interview and took place and everything.
Yeah, but he's been saying this for a while. Like a lot of us have been saying this for a while. It's just like Kanye is. I think the controversy is going to have more negative effects for those speaking out against Zionism than positive. I really do. I'm not seeing all the positives. Yes, now we can point to the hypocrisy a little bit more.
How can it get any better?
The fact that we're funding them.
How is it going to get in Congress when they're completely owned by AIPAC? I mean, we got Hakeem Jeffries out there going, go Israel, go Israel. That's the head of the progressives now. That's the man in the left now. I mean, how can it get any worse?
I mean, they're owned by AIPAC, but they're not just owned by AIPAC. That's not the only thing they're owned by, though. It's bigger than just that. It's everybody else. It's this what you call globalists, what a lot of people call globalists, what I call just imperialists.
Fam, Kanye West praising Hitler and Nazis is abhorrent and disgusting. Whether it is anti-Semitism, racism, xenophobia, sexism, or homophobia, there are always those who want to divide us up. Our job is to unite people around a progressive agenda that improves lives for all. Fam, this is one of the first freaking tweets that Bernie Sanders hasn't gotten freaking ratioed on in a while. Any thoughts about that?
I think what Kanye said is divisive. I think it's divisive on purpose. I also think that it's hypocritical of liberals and Bernie to be talking about uniting under a progressive agenda when the progressive agenda is imperialist. So there's that.
Mm-hmm. Also, we have this here now. This is something. Let's talk about the symbol. So later on that night, after Kanye did his 4-hour show with Alex Jones, he started putting some stuff up on Twitter. This is from Syrian girl, partisan girl, I think she's going by now, fam. Kanye West's last tweet was a photo of Elon Musk with Ari Emanuel, who is Rahm Emanuel's brother, who he's been calling out. Ari is an Israeli American businessman, billionaire, who is also referred to as the Hollywood's super agent. He brokered a deal for Elon's purchase of Twitter. He called for businesses to cancel Kanye West. He's the son of an Irgun terrorist. And there he is. Super agent Emanuel seeks to help broker Musk's Twitter settlement. He urged CEOs to stop working with Kanye West. There you see it. He's the sons of an Urgan fighter from Jerusalem. And let us always remember, this is my final tweet, and that's Rahm Emanuel's brother, Ari, spraying the hose, hitting Elon Musk right in the back of the head, fam. And I am going to go really quickly and grab the tweet, fam. Do you have anything to say about that too as well?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's just, it's just like stuff we know, right? That there's a lot of influence from the Israeli lobby in everything when it comes to politics, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to anything with power. Yeah. But again, you have to specify, like, there's this Zionism and there's this protected class where you can't criticize this support for Israel that gets to just be basically the United States' younger brother on imperialism and do all the things that it does. And I am so opposed to that, and I think it's disgusting. There's no need to go where he has done, because I think it discredits real criticism that we have of Israel and the Zionism that has become this class that we can't criticize.
So you think it's that he's the main thing is that he hasn't specified. I heard in this and I haven't watched the whole 4-hour thing. I heard in this particular interview, he did refer to the group as Zionist a little bit more than he did just saying the Jews last time, what he did say, which was really bad. So do you think if that's the biggest problem, the fact that he's being too vague in general, he's not specifying which
I don't think he's specifying on purpose, because if you actually specify, then you have a real case. But if you don't specify, then all people are going to focus on is saying you're an anti-Semite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. Kanye posted, I mean, Steve made the point to say that even if he used the term Zionist, they were going to still go after him.
Of course they were still going to go after him. But then I would say, actually, he's talking about Zionists. So everybody should say, yes, these Zionists are doing this to Palestinians. Yes, these Zionists are doing this to Syria every day. They're bombing Syria. Yes, these Zionists are doing this, blah, blah, blah. But if you're going to talk about Hitler and Nazis as they're a good thing, then that discredits that. What does that have to do with criticizing the Zionists and criticizing the liberals that are supporting Nazis in the United States that has protected and put Nazis in positions of power? Like, that's we lose. It makes our argument that much more difficult when you have somebody like Kanye trying to rehabilitate Nazis as a good thing. Because that's what it comes across.
I don't think he was trying to rehabilitate Nazis. I think he was trying to say that, like, why can't if the leaders and the people who pull the strings, who make the laws, always say that you can't talk about something. They tell you what you can and cannot talk about, meaning they demonetize you, ban you, shut you down for talking about something. It's usually because they're trying to make sure they protect a certain class.
A lot of people have been saying that.
Like, what should be taboo? Why can't we talk about these things? Why is it bad to talk about these things?
Why is it bad to talk about Nazis being good? I don't know, because maybe
I wasn't saying it wasn't about talking about Nazis that are.
But that's what he was doing. That's what people got out of that interview. And it was, I mean, if he had actually talked about Zionists, I would be here praising everything.
I heard somebody
just
on
like I've defended him before.
We saw people in the chats that saying that that's not what they got out of it. They got out of the fact that you should be able to talk about everything, that freedom of speech should reign supreme no matter what, and that we shouldn't be censored for these things. I understand the perception might be bad, but what was actually said is what we should be sticking to and saying laws are laws. And what can be said and what can't be said. Freedom of speech should reign supreme.
He didn't just say laws are. He wasn't just saying freedom of speech. He specifically mentioned Hitler and Nazis. So
I understand, but what I'm saying is why should it be illegal? The perception is awful. The mentality is awful. But what
it shouldn't be illegal. Who said it should be illegal?
But that's the thing. They're taking people down. They're shutting people down. They're demonetizing people.
Of course, they've been doing this before he got out and said that.
What's that?
But they've been doing this before he even got and said that. Like, so he's not. Again, he's not this like pioneer speaking about free speech. Like,
nobody's saying he's a pioneer, but a lot more people are going to be paying attention to it because Jay just has that poll. And whether we like it or not, we inside the bubble. I think
they're going to pay attention in the wrong way. Like,
some people will and some people won't. I don't know. Let's get to this really quick too, because we
don't
Kanye
have
posted the Raelion UFO cult logo in Adobe as if he designed it in precinct context, and everyone is too ignorant to realize it was a trap to prove Elon is a hypocrite. He truly is a genius, amazing Kanye West. I don't think he's a genius, but this is what he posted up, fam. And so check this out. This is a symbol. They were like, "Oh, it's a swastika inside the Star of David." Now, I know that, fam, and I haven't done a lot of studies on this and stuff, but I remember there was once a Zionist Israeli coin, wasn't there? A Zionist Nazi coin at one point. I don't know if it was real, it was fake. I know George Galloway had talked about it before. But
no, what is real is that there was a sector of Nazis that went into Israel and became the Zionists. That is real. That is not like that's history that happened. They also went to parts of Argentina, and then they went to parts of the United States, infiltrated NATO, the State Department. They got positions of power. And these were Nazis. Some of them went into Israel, and some of them are the Zionists we know today. That is true. Nobody's denying all of these things. What I'm saying is there's a difference between that and what he said. And I think if you don't see that difference, you might want to start seeing that difference, or you're going to go down a really bad path. I just, it's like you can say whatever the hell you want, but, people are going to have different opinions on what you say. And people trying to make Kanye this big, like, guy that's like exposing people, I think it's just ridiculous. I don't think he's exposing anything. I think he's controversial on purpose, and he's going through stuff clearly. I do, in a way, I do feel he is like some sort of useful idiot for the establishment, but at the same time he's a controversial billionaire that's going to be fine. No matter, people are saying he's canceled. He's not, he's canceled in the way of like, we see, every media outlet, blah, 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 is canceling him, but he'll be fine. He's going to be able to live his life with his money and just be fine. Like he'll be okay. There are more people that I'm worried about that, yeah.
I'm trying to find this thing right now because I want to show it here, but fam, let's take a look at this real quick. So this is it. This was already up. You can see the symbol, and they have it on, and this is the Chinese movement now. So this is up there right now. You can see it right there. This symbol's up on several pages. It's a movement. They have Twitters. It's up. It's this UFO friggin' cult thing, fam. So, and that was the thing he did. He took it off because he impulsively thought it was bad. And Elon Musk said, I tried hard, but after that, we have to pull him. And that's why they pulled him. So he set a bear trap and they walked right into it. That symbol's been up on different pages, on different Twitters for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they got rid of him because, he's just a liability at this point. I don't think he got rid of him because they actually care that he's spreading, anti-Semitic propaganda, because Azov accounts are there with their little Nazi signs everywhere. I don't think they care one bit about that stuff. They got rid of him because it's like, we have to do by the general public and how they feel and blah, blah, blah. And because powerful people are pissed at him. It's wrong, but he's hardly the only person censored. We've had literally like Garland Nixon get taken down twice. We've had all kinds of people get taken down.
Ritter's still down. The doctors are still down.
Like, Elon Musk is no free speech warrior. He's no hero. Just like I feel like Elon Musk, probably way worse than I feel about Kanye. Like, I think Kanye has even more redeeming qualities than Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is like, So he's got even more power. And I don't think he's a free speech
there's
warrior.
laws already in place, fam. We have to stop letting these people and let me tell you something. What Elon did was against the law. Section 220 says that all these companies, there's a 230 of the NDA, a 220, I don't know which one it is. I've said it so many times I've gotten confused. It says plain and simple, you are protected from litigation. You are not liable to be sued, because as long as you act as a platform and not a publisher, meaning you don't pick winners and losers, then you have that protection. Well, he just picked winners and losers.
He did that before this, though, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I know. And he did it again. Okay. They keep doing it.
Yeah, he's going to keep doing it because he works for the establishment.
So this is somebody going right here. Man, you keep talking. You keep talking up Ye. Talking up for Ye. Why don't you do us all a favor and get the man some help? Real talk. And then Maj Toure says, you don't get to get the fuck off my timeline and recognize this post has zero to do with Kanye and everything to do with people who don't even know the origins of the symbol they are outraged by. Like you with a Ukrainian flag in your bio, ignorant that Nazis are a chunk of their army.
Not just a chunk, they're like the driving force of their army.
Fam, I don't know you
Yeah.
know about this, but that's my guy right there, Maj Toure right there. That's my libertarian dude. What's up, Maj? That's my dog. Fam, let's get to your tweets real quick.
Yeah.
We'll get to your issues. I think this is a fascinating conversation, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Let us
I
know
think
what
it's a
you
giant
think.
distraction.
What's
But yeah,
that?
I think it's a giant distraction. But I wanted to talk about it for that reason, to say it's a giant distraction from like the fact that the United States is supporting fascists in Ukraine. So like I said, no need to defend Ye's pro-Hitler comments, which I think are made for controversy. But this is what I'm talking about, the hypocrisy here. The liberals right now, the Biden administration is in charge, which is why I'm saying liberals. Obviously, there are Republicans too that are pro Ukraine, the Mitch McConnells of the world, the Lindsey Grahams, and they're okay with funding Nazis in Ukraine, right? And they're also okay with saying George Bush isn't as bad as Kanye. No, George Bush is 10 million thousand times worse than Kanye. So is Barack Obama. You know why? Because their policies led to the death of millions and millions of people. Okay. And this is just again reiterating my point that I think that now he's being talked about everywhere. Now, he's going to gain a lot of fans. But I think it's actually putting people more polarized one way or the other than actually bringing in the conversation into a more nuanced perspective. I think the only people that understand the nuance are the people that have always understood the nuance, the anti-imperialists who are like, we have been against Zionism. We have been against just being unable to speak our mind and being censored. It's wrong to ban Kanye off of Twitter. It's wrong to ban him for what he said, what he did. Like, you don't have to like it. You can disagree with it, but having it on there makes you have the opportunity to disagree with it. But I think this is again all just a distraction. I think this is.
I don't know about that. I think that
attention.
there's some conversations going to be had by a person. Listen, Kanye has millions of people follow him, and trust me,
Of
we
course.
are filled with nothing but low-informed voters in this country.
Mhm.
And I think it's going to get some conversations out there that need to be talked about. Could have been done in a better way, a classier way. Yeah. Could have been more nuanced, a little bit more specific. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes we don't get to pick and choose the way the conversations are coming along. We just have to go with it as is. I'm glad you're pointing out that you do think it is a distraction. I don't. For me, at the
there's
end
a
of the
reason
day,
Alex Jones has Kanye on. There's a reason Tucker has, a guy that probably doesn't know anything about elections on and not you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why these people get platforms.
well, aside from the whole
Like-
Brazil thing, who else in the mainstream media has had on people like Anya Parampel and Max and Jimmy and Glenn Greenwald to talk about foreign
Yeah,
policy?
but
So I mean,
yeah,
once again, you got to
but-
take the good with the bad. Sometimes you're not going to get everything, but when you do
but
have
there's
your
this
opportunity,
polarization that I think this is not benefiting.
look,
This
Anya
polarization.
Parampel has not gone on MSNBC.
No.
Rachel
I'm talking
Maddow.
about Kanye. I'm talking about Kanye. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about Tucker, so my bad. Yeah. But go ahead, fam.
So, well, all I said was you can't publicly support. You can't publicly say you support Nazis like Ye did, but if you arm Azov, fund them with billions, and give them medals, you're fine. CNN will even broadcast their salutes, and the government will praise their war crimes. So the lesson is to be smart about which Nazis you support, because really, at the end of the day, is Kanye the worst person in the world for saying what he said? Did I like what he said? Did I agree with it? No, not really. But is that worse than what our country is doing right now, than what our country has done by empowering these actual Nazis, like paramilitary fascists? And not just in Ukraine right now. They did it in 2014 with the Maidan coup. And now this is where we are, where they're literally killing people. People died today. They bombed Donetsk again. One guy was cut in half while he was walking his dog. A woman was decapitated. There are pictures out there that you guys can see. Like, this is happening right now. This is the Azov. They're proud of who they are. They have said it to every journalist they could, that they think Russians are less than human beings. They think Slavs are less than human beings. They think that they're superior. It's the same mentality. Yet they're outraged at Kanye talking about Hitler and those Nazis, but they're empowering another. And I think that's the hypocrisy of the liberals that I think we need to point out at this time, because sure, you don't have to agree with what Kanye said, but is what he said a fraction of as bad as what people are doing? Actions over words, right? Actions over words. The actions of the people in power are far worse than any of the words he has said. Kanye hasn't gone around and bombed millions of people that I know of. Kanye hasn't gone and, funded billions of dollars worth for Ukraine. He just hasn't. So who's the villain here, really? I think people will latch on and make Kanye either a victim or a hero, and I don't think he's either. I think he's just a celebrity.
I have to stop you. It's yay. Thank you.
So this is another point that I thought was good that I thought Lucy brought up. She said Hitler is so deeply unpopular because he did to Western Europe and the US what Western Europe and the US did to the rest of the world. And I think that's an extremely important point. There is a segment there that hates Hitler so much because they think that he is the complete opposite of them. And actually, the United States has committed genocide and destruction in the name of democracy. And they continue to do this. And people, especially the liberal class who think they're above it all, don't want to look inward and say, actually, we do that too. And not just the liberals. I mean, if you go on the other side, right, there's a certain sector of conservatives that say, well, let's go into China and get rid of the CCP.
Yeah.
They don't want to look into the fact that China isn't what's really the problem here. It's our own government.
Yeah.
And that in our foreign policy. So there's a lot of hypocrisy here that I do think is coming out with the Kanye situation. So that is a good thing, I think, out of all of this.
Hoo-ah. What up, Lucy? Fam, we got one more last thing in this section over here. Go ahead. This is interesting, and I'll play the video when you're ready.
So since we were speaking of Nazis and Zionists, which I take to be one and the same, and we could do another episode on how that happened, but there is a story there that I mentioned earlier. Israeli officials didn't want depictions of the true story of what happened to Palestinians in the 1948 to be shown on Netflix. But Netflix stood firm and released Farha today. Watch it. So I'm going to watch it tonight. And it's on Netflix. And here is the trailer. So let's take a look.
غالي أروح على المدينة، أروح على المدرسة، يصير عندي شنطة، كشاكيل.
البنت راسها بالتعليم، شو بده يصير يعني؟ شو هي طالبة راس وحيدة؟
ما في وقت يابا، برجع يابا، خليكي جوا يابا، لا تخافي.
يا فريدة رأس الزينة.
تعبسوا تبعي.
So it looks like a powerful film. My friends from Mint Press were recommending it. So they've done a lot of really great work on Palestine. And I'm an advocate of a free Palestine, hardcore. I had this conversation several times with several people I work with. So it's always tough when you're presenting the news to pretend that there are two sides, because there's not. And there's a side of genocide, and what Israel's doing to Palestinians is never talked about enough. What they're doing to Syria every day, bombing them, is never talked about enough. And that is one of the reasons why I support free speech, because those people are Palestinians are Semitic people, and they never get told that they're Semitic. They always get pushed aside as being terrorists for defending themselves. So yeah, I'm going to watch that.
Something that's empowering, and it could be used negative or positively when somebody you regard as somebody you think you inspire, that you like, that you idolize or you think is good or is a leader, whatever the case may be. There's something empowering, negative and positive, when somebody says, that person says something that empowers you to now say something because they've said it. And now they've provided the safe space to say these things, right? It could be used negative, bad. Like somebody says, somebody that you respect, say a person that they respect, somebody says something that's racist and they feel it, then they might say it. And then they might expose themselves because they heard their leader or their person that they regard say something, whatnot. But that can also be used in a negative situation where people are afraid to say something because they don't want to get canceled or whatnot. And somebody says it and then they say, well, I'm going to say it now too. So I think there's something about that, and it could be used in a negative way. That's why I wanted to point it out, that might come out of this where now more people might say what's on their mind rather than holding on to that opinion, whether it be for better or for worse.
I think it's going to be for worse for a lot of the times, but we'll see. Okay, so we don't have much time, so.
Yes, fam. So the next section over here, let's talk about this railroad situation, because this is something we brought to attention for a while ago. And I think we have to bring it on back because I don't know if you remember, fam, I'm a little bit older than you. I don't know if you were aware of that. And then they had this whole situation, and I'd like to learn a little bit more about it. I'd actually like to talk to David Knight about what happened with the air traffic controllers, because a lot of people said this is during the Ronald Reagan administration that air traffic controllers were going on strike, and that Ronald Reagan used the National Guard to come in and fill their spot and eventually break the strike and make them agree to a deal that they didn't want to agree to. Now we have the situation that's going on where they understand that is the leaders, the government, whoever's they're working for, that if the train shut down, the supply line is already going to take a beating on a supply line that's going to supposedly be running out soon, especially when it comes to diesel, gas, and all those shortages. We won't be able to recover. So now that Joe Biden has stepped in and the House has come in, and it seems, fam, to me that they've removed the leverage that the workers had and left them high and dry. You go right ahead.
Right. So the House passed, what happened was the House passed legislation guaranteeing 7 days of paid sick leave as part of a mandated rail labor agreement. This was not what the railroad workers wanted. They wanted 30 days. And the vote was 221 to 207. All Democrats backed this. I haven't read that yet, so give me a second. All Democrats backed this, and Republicans opposed it except 3. So in this case, the Republicans left of the Democrats. And it could be kind of confusing if you don't need to understand first that voting for it is actually the bad thing, because the workers did not want this to go through because it cancels their strike. It basically shuts down their strike because they wanted more. And the squad basically betrayed them and voted in line with Pelosi and Biden and completely just destroyed them. Now, it happened first in the House, like I said, right? So I said, House progressive Dems stand with Joe Biden and against railroad workers. No one should be surprised, as they've done this from the start. They have been doing this from the beginning. They take turns as to who is the one that doesn't go in line, that becomes a progressive. In this case, this time around, it was Rashida Tlaib that said, you know what? No, I'm not going to vote for this because this is not what the railroad workers want. But I said, how embarrassing that more Republicans stood with workers and the beacons of progressivism, bunch of spineless clowns, spineless cowards to be more precise. So let's look at the number. I don't know if you can make it bigger, fam.
Yeah, I can.
Fam, stop.
What did I say? I didn't do anything. You want this bigger?
Yes.
Fam, you just got to be specific on what you want bigger. This what I can't make bigger.
Sometimes I'm talking to a 12-year-old.
Fam, it's not me. This is you. Here's what I can do. Hold on. I can take a picture of it, and I will do that. And then I can make the picture bigger.
We do need it bigger so people could see who
Stop it.
Stop. I can't have a serious conversation here about size of the picture, Pasta. Jesus
I didn't
Christ.
say anything. This is Sam trying to put a bullshit on me. But go ahead and talk about it, because I think that too as well is that a lot of people also have to Where's it at? It's over here. I got
So
it.
the squad, AOC, Ilhan Omar, all the stupid new progressives, they all turn their backs on workers, which is, again, it shouldn't be surprising. But a bunch of Republicans actually voted against it, which means they actually stood with the railroad workers. And you can see the names highlighted there. All Democrats voted for this, which means all Democrats are anti-worker. I mean, I'm not making this up here. You can see their names. You can see who they are. It's still semi-blurry, but it's fine. But you guys can see it's a bunch, mostly Democrats in the House voted yes. Okay, and there was a few Republicans. Clearly, I don't know.
Ro Khanna.
This was the first vote. There were several votes, I think. Ro Khanna for sure. Anyway, so then what happened was the Senate went and voted for the next thing, right? But before that, I think I have a tweet, right?
Yes, you do.
Let's see.
Let me get the
Yeah.
tweet.
So this guy, Neil Meyer, Neil Meyer said, let's be clear about what just happened. Progressives in the squad, minus Rashida, the one who took the turn to be the progressive, voted to crush a strike in return for a symbolic vote by the House for paid sick days. So it was a whole process. They voted to crush the strike in return to get them 7 paid sick days. The workers wanted more, so they're pissed that they voted for this. And the Senate, of course, voted down paid sick days. And they knew this. The House knew that the Senate would vote this way. This is what always happens. So the House votes one way, and it's shit. It's milquetoast, right? And then the Senate goes and makes it pretty much non-existent, and then you have nothing. That's literally the American political system. That's literally our legislative Congress. That's literally that. That's all it is. And he said progressives in the House. Progressives in the progressives in the House are big enough to kill the TA that railroad workers voted down. They could have killed this. They could have killed it, and they chose not to. Instead, they traded their votes and principles for a rotten deal that they knew was hopeless. So they knew that this was going to be bad for them, and they did it anyway. Go ahead.
Fam, I don't know if you know this. Just like your favorite dude, Fidel. That was I'm practicing tipping my cap, by the way, for the rodeo tonight, fam. Ma'am. If you like to listen to some Chris Stapleton, I have the cassette tape in my car. Railroad workers strike averted as Senate acts. The mainstream media just protects these assholes. And like you said, fam, you had to go out here and you had to explain completely that this is bad if you vote for it. So look really quickly. Yeah. It says the Senate passed a resolution Thursday that would put into place the rail labor agreement reached by the White House, railroads and labor unions in September, but rejected a measure to provide additional 7 days of sick leave to their workers. The Senate, it says, said yes, but then rejected the 7 days. I was on Jimmy Dore the other day, fam, and Jimmy was saying, I'm just going to take a guess here that 7 days somehow will not get approved. I'm like, yeah, it's just going to be like the college thing. They're going to throw it out there. Look what we did, and then you're not going to get it. They're just virtue signaling at this point.
That's exactly what happened, because that's how it always happens. So the next tweet by Lauren Kaori Gurley. After the House did all that, right? The Senate came back and the Senate voted down the deal. From 7 days, it went down to 0. 52 to 43. Yes. The Senate voted down a deal, 52 to 43, that would have granted railroad workers 7 paid sick days, which was already less than they wanted. Okay. This was the crux of the rail strike standoff. Railroad workers in the U.S. did not receive a single paid sick day. Not a single paid sick day. I don't care how you feel about COVID, whatever. Like, in Russia, you get way more sick days than 0. You get more than 7. Fam. I believe you get at least double or triple that.
Fam, Mother Russia. That's not appropriate.
I mean, Putin is a dictator, so, you know.
All right. So the next article you have up over here, fam?
Yeah. If you can this is from the railroad workers themselves. They did a press release, and I'm just going to scroll to under where it says Democrats and Republicans smite rail labor. If you scroll down under that title. And while Railroad Workers United, the RWU, finds it despicable, but not surprising, that both political parties opted to side with the big business over working people yesterday and vote against the interests of railroad workers, not once, but twice within hours, we suffered a 1-2 punch at the hands of first, the Democratic Party, the second served up by the Republicans. Okay. Guys, they literally work in tandem. They literally work together to screw the people. If people still think that one is better than the other, I don't know what to tell you. They show you every day they're not, right?
They're the same.
And they're the same. They're the same. They literally hang out together. They go to parties. They go to each other's weddings. They're friends. They're the same. You got the illusion of the two-party system, one giant party. And then they said, first, responding to the wishes of President Biden and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the House voted to legislate a contract that the majority of U.S. freight rail workers had previously voted to reject. The Senate would quickly follow suit. In effect, their actions simply overrode our voices and desires. Rail workers, like all workers, should have the right to bargain collectively and to freely engage in the strike activity, if and when the members see fit and when they democratically elect to do so. Within hours of the Senate vote sealing our fate on Thursday afternoon, we would suffer a second defeat, this time at the hands of the other party of big business, the Republican Party. That bill, which would have mandated that all railroad workers receive 7 days of paid leave, would receive just a handful of votes from Republicans in the House and crucially in the Senate, where it went down to defeat. This 1-2 punch from the two political parties is despicable. Politicians are happy to voice platitudes and heap praise upon for our heroism throughout the pandemic, the essential nature of our work, the difficult and dangerous and demanding conditions of our jobs. Yet when the steel hits the rail, they back the powerful and wealthy class, one rail carriers every time. Railroad Workers United understands that this fight for justice will continue in the coming months and years. So there you go. I mean, but you're right, Pasta, what you said in the beginning. These people are essential in terms of transportation. And I think if the railroad workers and truckers come together, then what we could see would be a wildcat strike. But again, it just never comes into being. They usually are able to negotiate. This is really bad. They got 0 sick days. Zero, guys.
And the way they just got the 1-2 punch on them was so disgusting. It's like, you know, I can understand Republicans in the beginning go, like Josh Hawley said, we're not going to vote for this. This is bullshit. This is against what they want to do. We're not going to take away their bar. You know, even Marco Rubio said that shit. But then it passes. Then it should be up to all the Republicans as well to go, okay, listen, we don't like the fact that we negotiated a deal that they rejected and we're forcing them to go back to work. But if we're going to do that, then we at least got to give them this 7 days. None of them said that shit. None of them did that shit. They shot it down. So they screwed them twice. It was, we screwed you once over here, and now we're going to screw you with the Republicans over there.
Right. And I want, if you can scroll up, fam, because I want people to know the context of my tweet. So Misty, so basically Misty was talking about this. Let's go to Misty's tweet right here. So Brianna said, this is why Rashida has always been my favorite. Ooh. Because this was about Rashida being the only one, right, staying away from voting for this bill that would give them the 7 days. Okay. So Bri was saying this is why she's my favorite. And Misty commented on, you guys need to stop falling for the Lucy football thing. And Misty said, with all due respect, could say the same for you. What Misty's alluding to is that they always take turns as to which one is going to play good cop, right? Like, you need to realize that if there's 1 or 2 squad members that don't vote for this one bill, the next one that screws workers, there's going to be a different 2 that don't. They literally take turns. They did this with the police bill. They did this with the, sanctions on Cambodia. They've done it with the Iron Dome. They do it with whatever it is. Like that. This is what they do. This is how they take.
Sam, are you telling me that their nays are strategically placed and they're talking behind closed doors to who can say nay on these things and say yay, and they understand that's going to pass anyway, so therefore they can at least campaign on those issues? Well, I voted against it, even though it got passed. That wasn't like Rashida can say, I voted against this.
Yeah. I mean, they are. I mean, not all the time. I'm not going to say I know for a fact it's all the time, but
It does
I mean,
seem like it's planned.
it definitely is. Have you guys not seen that show? What was it called? You know what I'm talking about with what's his name? The
Who?
guy,
Which guy, fam?
the
The
guy
dude-
who is like a abuser, pedophile now.
Harvey
You know what I'm
Weinstein?
talking about. No, the actor.
Kevin Spacey?
Anyway, yeah, Kevin Spacey. Yeah. What was it called, that show?
When he was the president?
Yeah.
I totally
In that
forgot.
show, they basically do that. They basically have these talks. So you're going to vote for this and you're going to do that. And that's literally how it works.
Why?
but
What do I have
people
to
still
vote for
this
that?
idea.
Politics, he tells them. Yeah. Fam, we need
Frank.
more
His
Ukrainian.
name was Frank.
Frank, yeah.
All right. So Joe, this is just a meme, right? Joe Biden and Congress have infinite money, and this is by Rev Maxing for Ukraine, but can't give railroad workers basic demands. Can we have another? Zelensky asked, "Can we have another 300 billion weapons anytime?" Jack, can I have a sick pay? Not a chance, Sonny boy. Fam, you should have read that. That was for you to read.
Could we have another 300 billion in weapons and some cocaine? Anytime, Jack. Can I have a sick pay? Not a chance, Sonny boy. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You can't have nothing, fam. You get nothing. It is true. I mean, they have all this money to dole out left and right for this freaking bullshit war, and yet, yeah.
And they have time to get outraged about Kanye while literally denying workers a sick day. You guys see that too? Yeah.
Let me get the next one up. I think I got this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're almost done.
Maxine Waters, fam. You went to the Maxine Waters thing? Damn.
No, I just wanted to point out when we're talking about government corruption here, right? So look at how Maxine talks about Sam Bankman-Fried instead of the guy should be in jail. Look at how she talks. We appreciate that you've been candid in your discussions about what happened at FTX. Your willingness to talk to the public will help the company's customers, investors, and others. To that end, we would welcome your participation in our hearing on the 13th.
Wow.
She's getting ratioed like crazy, by the way. This is a good thing.
I hope so. Look at that. It doesn't show. But I hope so. She's got to look at all those quote tweets. I mean, dude, this is the people like the. We need to do, fam, what they did in Iceland, and that's get 3. Yep. They only have 1 garbage. We need to get 3 large, giant freaking dumpsters, roll them right out in front of Congress, march these people out, get into the dumpster, then get them out of the dumpster into the paddy wagon and take them to jail. We need to do what Iceland did. We, the people. These people need to go to jail. That's all. All Maxine Waters did was protect everybody, all her little buddies when it came to the Wall Street bet situation. And you saw people within your Congress, men of color, going, oh, what's going on, messing with our gorgeous financial system? How could they do this and stuff? I mean, this is not a race issue anymore, ladies and gentlemen. This is
intersectional imperialism.
It is. It's intersectional imperialism, and it's people who protect power and people who stand up to power. Unfortunately, all your fraud squad, all your leftists, majority of your politicians in Congress work for power.
Regardless of their gender or their color,
where they
or
come
their
from.
Latino
say,
heritage. Fam? Oh, I mean, I already explained it. No need to go over it. Yeah.
I think I have 2 tweets up here really quickly. I'll just go to them really quickly. Guys, thank you. Do us a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. We are still hanging out on Rumble, and we are rumbling it up. We're on Rockfin, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. Fam, this is something I said to, who did I say this to? Pramila. So this is why she's talking. While rail corporations earn billions in profits, their workers can barely take time to look after loved ones or their own health. Progressives have championed paid leave for workers everywhere, and we will never stop fighting for it. Progressives bend the knee to the establishment and their corporate donors. No matter how much you continue to lie, gaslight, and project, more and more people are waking up to your lies, fam.
Yeah. I mean, that people should be already awake to their lies, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how how anybody's defending the squad at this point.
And I think I have one last tweet, fam, for this section. Do you want to continue doing the show, or do you want to leave that section for Monday?
It's just quick. I'll just do the quick video. Yeah.
Really quickly too, as well. So, fam, I wonder. This is from Olivia Rondau, my friend. I'm not old enough to remember when the left was anti-war, anti-government, anti-mainstream media, anti-big pharma. But I've heard legends. What happened? And I said a complete co-option from the deep state. The most effective tool was preying on bleeding hearts with no nuance behind it to elevate culture wars and present an electoral choice of personnel that only mitigates damage to stop evil capitalists and fascists. In other words, saying that the ones they put forth on the left are the ones who are going to say, hey, listen, we have to do this to mitigate damage. We have to stop the impending fascism. Those are the candidates get pushed through, not the candidates that are going to really actually bring you actual fiscal change and economic change for you, the people. They're only there to say, we have to stop the evil. We have to stop the evil. So they make sure that these are the people they present forward. And those other people are just done. And it's a complete co-option by the deep state. It really has. All these intelligence programs, everything that the Democratic Party says, is coming out of intelligence apparatuses. Remember our revolution? It was a group started, an organization started to go and fund and push forth grassroots personalities to take on the establishment. Well, now their endorsements are all establishment people. So, fam, do you remember when the left was that once way? I mean, you were
No. I remember Clinton. That's it. Clinton and then forward. I mean, I do remember that liberals were a little bit more like for free speech, but like from Clinton and on, I think it got really bad. Even before Clinton, I think it got bad. Reagan.
Yeah. Reagan was before Clinton. Reagan was bad. But
Yeah.
see, I didn't know all that stuff that was going on, so I wasn't aware of it. Guys, do us a favor, hit the like button and the share button. We have one more last section. We're going to do this and get out of it really quick. Fam, what do you got going on here with the EU? What's going down? Let us know. You've been killing it on the breaking news here, so please.
So, Joseph Borrell, the EU's go-to guy, right, says the quiet part out loud. He says, like the discoverers and conquistadors, and I want you people who talk about the deep state, who talk about globalists and WEF, a lot of us here have been talking about that, right, for a while, before it got popular to talk about it. He said, we have to invent a new world, and we have to recalibrate our strategic compass with strong historical consciousness to understand the magnitude of the changes that we will face. What's he talking about here? Let's listen to what he says.
Pero no es solo diplomacia lo que hay que hacer política con mayúsculas, porque como lo que les decía, lo que está en juego va a definir el destino del mundo. Y como dijo el secretario general de las Naciones Unidas, entre el COVID y sus consecuencias, la guerra y sus consecuencias, el cambio climático y sus consecuencias, estamos viviendo una tormenta perfecta. Y para navegar en esta tormenta ya no nos sirven ni las rutas ni los mapas del pasado. Como los descubridores y conquistadores, tenemos que inventar un nuevo mundo. Y hay que recalibrar nuestra brújula estratégica con plena conciencia histórica para comprender la magnitud de los cambios a los que hacemos frente. Pero no es solo...
So basically, he's saying we're going to enter this new world and we need to recalibrate our compass like the conquistadors and the discoverers of the world did in order to create this new world. Because of the pandemic, because of the war, and because of climate change, there's this new world coming. I thought what he said was really interesting. Especially
he's like a front man for the freaking fourth industrial revolution over there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Latin version of it. And they always have this
wait a minute. He's Latin because he speaks Spanish, but he's a Spaniard. He's what we call
Gusano.
Gusano. Yeah,
Gusano.
And he's praising the conquistadors right now. I mean, come on. That's stupid. Where's the outreach for that? Right?
Because
where's the outreach for that? These conquistadors murdered and destroyed millions of people. And we're gonna go over that. The slaves, the Native Americans, the when the wars were happening, everybody that stood against the Spanish Empire. But where's the outreach for that? Oh yeah,
Fam.
we're just gonna say this out loud because he's Chief Burrell and he can say whatever the fuck he wants.
Because
where's
all
Oh,
that
but
stuff is
Kanye.
necessary, fam, to get where we're at. It's just the progression of humans, and yes, some blood had to be spilled, and there had to be some learning times, and fam, and we need to embrace our history so that we can move forward. I like the way they say this, like in a practical sense, like, oh well, you know, all this shit that happened before, it had nothing to do with our decisions. It had nothing to do with us. So, you know, this is just a natural course of evolution in life, and now we have to react on this new world. We have to do it. It's like, asshole, all these things that you're trying to implement is because you and your kind implemented all these rules and caused all these wars. You assholes. You freaking released the virus. This is because of you. You know what I make it look like? Oh, this is just a course of time, family. All that blood from the conquistadors, it had to be spilled. It's evolution. Yeah, there was some bad times. Some bad decisions were made, but we have to embrace what happened and come out of it now and make decisions based upon what history has handed us. Not what we want to do. It's what was handed to us.
He's a scary dumb. I mean, he just said the quiet part out loud. This is nothing new. This
That's
is what
all
we
he
are,
did.
right?
Yeah.
So that's it. So this is where I wanted to get your point of view because I still think this is the same thing. I still think imperialism is globalism. But so the EU and the West never actually ended colonialism, guys. Like we're just the new. It went from colonialism to neocolonialism to imperialism, and you know, people are calling out globalism. To me, it's the same thing. It's just more. It's like imperialism of the human being now, right? When we're talking not just about lands, but about you, microchips, everything, control, like all of that. That's still imperialism to me. Like you're trying to control, and you've gone beyond land now. And you've gone beyond resources. So now you're controlling the person. But this is, I mean, they're just telling you what they have planned for you. Like he's straight up saying, oh yes, we, you know, like the conquistadors who killed millions of people and genocide. This is that whole, you know, there's too many people. We need to depopulate. The conversation we had on Wednesday. We have a new world. What used to be the New World Order, the Great Reset, whatever you want to call it. That's where we're at, right? So yeah, I think that's what he's talking about, fam. It's not a conspiracy. This is the EU chief leader of the, I forget his exact title, but he is an important man, and he's the guy that always is pushing for more funding for Ukraine from the EU. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to show. And I wanted to also bring up the successful coups that the US had. There's this little thing you can see right here. But the ones they left out were Honduras 2009, Ukraine 2014, Bolivia 2019, Somalia 2022. There's also Somalia 2020. Somalia has been like invaded.
Somalia is like a freaking Halloween movie. For some reason, they just keep coming back, and Michael Myers keeps getting ready to resurrect. What are they, Halloween 9? So
I haven't seen the latest one, fam.
I mean, I just keep making them. I just keep. We got to go back to Somalia again. Literally, Donald Trump got rid of the special forces troopers at the very end. So let's not start blowing sunshine up his ass. But at the very end, he removed some of those Somalian troops. We had the guy back on. It was like they landed in America. Like, oh no, go back. Biden's like, get back over there.
So the ones that failed were Nicaragua in 2018, and we talked to some people when we were there. And Venezuela 2019, if you remember the embassy, which that's Pasa and I were some of the few people covering that, and a lot of our friends now were there in the embassy. And Brazil, you could talk about when Lula was ousted. That definitely had U.S. backing. And Pakistan in 2022, the United States was accused of having their hand in removing Imran Khan. So those are two questionable ones. And currently, of course, they're trying Iran and China, but this is the whole list. And I don't think the ones currently are going to be successful. So people really
look at
this.
Know, can I read this off a little bit really quick? This is so awesome right here. 1901, Colombia. 1902, Panama. 1904, Korea. 1905, Honduras. 1905, Mexico. 1907, Nicaragua. 1907, Dominican. 1907, participant of the Dominican one. 1908, Panamanian. 1910, Nicaragua. 1911, China. 1912, Cuba. 1912, Panama. 1912, Honduras. 1912 to 1933, Nicaragua. 1914 to 1934, Haiti. 1916 to 1924, Dominican. 1917 to 1933, Cuba. 1917 to 1918, World War. 1918 to 1922, Russia. 1918 to 1920, Panama. 1919, Costa Rica. 1919, Honduras. 1920, Guatemala. 1922, Turkey. 1922 to 1927, China again. China. 1924 to 1925, Honduras. 1925, Panama. 1926, Nicaragua. 1927 to 1934, China. 1932, El Salvador. 1937, Nicaragua. 1945, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 1947 to 1949, Greece. 1948 to 1953, Philippines. 1950, Puerto Rico. 1950 to 1953, Korea. 1953, Iran. That's when the freaking CIA gets on the board. 1958, Lebanon. 1958, Panama. 1958, Laos. 1959, Haiti. 1960, Ecuador. 1960, Panama. 1965 to 1973, Vietnam. 1966, Guatemala. 1966, the Philippines. 1971 to 1973, Laos. 1972, Nicaragua. 1980, Iran. 1983, Grenada. 1986, Libya. 1988, Honduras. 1988, Iran. Passenger plane. 1991, Iraq, the first Persian Gulf War. 1992 to 1994, Somalia. 1998, Sudan. 1999, Yugoslavia, fam. 2001, Afghanistan. 2003, Iraq. 2011, Libya. Remember that one, ladies and gentlemen? 2011, Syria still going on. 2015, Yemen still going on. 2018, Syria still going on, fam.
Yeah. I mean, so when Joseph is talking about, you know, the EU, the West has always been responding to what the United States does and wants. And by the way, he is officially the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. That's who he is. So this is Redfish, and if you don't follow Redfish, you should. They have been, of course, also censored and labeled Russia state-affiliated media. But if you scroll up, fam, I'm just going to read just real quick what it says. He says, in the grip of the anti-Russian hysteria, the German parliament's recognition of the Soviet famine of 1930, commonly called the Holodomor, as genocide, is a reminder that modern applications of genocide recognition are little more than political grandstanding. This has been blamed on Russia, but it was actually not Russia that did it. So this is what they use every time when you say, you know, Russia didn't do something, they'll come back with, oh, but the Holodomor. And I put so many threads on that and how it's just, it was actually admitted to be propaganda by the West to weaponize sentiments against Russia. And famines did happen. Nobody's denying that, but they weren't caused on purpose by Russia. You know who's trying to cause a famine right now on purpose? Literally the EU and the United States and NATO, because they have they keep sanctioning Russia, and then we've seen everything that happened with the grain. Who's not getting the grain? And this has been the topic on Putin's mind and on minds of other people. The African countries, the poorer countries that need that grain, countries in Southeast Asia that haven't been getting that grain. And then, of course, when you have a famine, also that's going to be affected by the energy.
Yemen.
And of course, always Yemen. And
those are American weapons, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, even the Chinese got a little bit of action in there with the EAU, got them some friggin' drones. That's like what the one area where I'm kind of uber critical of the Chinese. But that's a common thing for the United States. There's weapons that are going out of Ukraine, fam. They're making their way to Colombia.
Yep.
The fuck out of here, fam. Last one.
Well, okay. Hold on. I just wanted to, if you went back to the other tweet, there was something else right under it. I just wanted to.
Okay, I have to go back to it. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
So rude.
I have to. You're gonna give me 2 seconds. So go ahead and riff, and I'll go back to it.
All right. So
the Redfish
basically, yeah. It's just there's a thread, and they were talking about some of the genocides that the European countries refused to recognize, starting with the genocide of 3 million Indonesian communists in the 1960s, funded, armed, and backed by post-war Germany. So the Germans, of course, once again, right here, Indonesian communists. And it's, if you just scroll right under, you can see what I just said. And I'm pointing this out because Joseph Borrell was elevating conquistadors and all these people and saying, that's the EU. So this is what the EU has done. And the first 100 years after Spain's conquest of the Americans in 1493, 56 million people were also wiped out. Again, since we've talked about Kanye, we've talked about the genocide of Jews. We're talking about the genocide of Palestinians as well by Zionists. How about the genocide by these people that the EU? I mean, remember when they called it that it was, what is it, like everything else was a jungle, and they were trying to protect this wonderful garden from this crazy jungle. Transatlantic slave trade, usually based on underestimate of approximately 2 million people who didn't survive the journey from Africa to the Americas. Tens more millions were killed before the slave ships actually sailed and in the slave plantations themselves. And so again, this is it just keeps, there's just so many. Belgian government didn't acknowledge the genocide by King Leopold, 15 million Congolese in just 2 decades. The British killed 90,000 Kenyans from 1953 to 1956. From 1876 to 1902, famines engineered by the British Empire's quest for super profits and cash crops in India. This is something people don't talk about enough. Killed 30 million. And there was the British-induced famine. And that's it. We can move on. But those are just, we never talk about these things, right? We never talk about these genocides. We always focus only on what Hitler did. And I'm not, like, again, you guys heard what I said earlier. I'm not belittling it. I just think that a lot of the times the liberals only focus on that because it makes them feel like they're superior and that they're above it, when no, a lot of like US Americans, Westerners committed the same, if not worse, genocides, just in a different, way. And we can only talk about, the one that's acceptable. And I said this, and I think a lot of people, it resonated with a lot of people because it really irritates the hell out of me. I went on Facebook recently, and that was my first mistake.
Man, why are you doing that? Don't do it.
Because people are like, I don't see you on here anymore. I don't understand. Are you okay? Are you alive? So I'm like, okay.
Because that freaking platform's nothing but about shit liberally.
It is. And I get into arguments. I don't want to get into arguments with these shit libs and waste my time. But this is why I posted on there. I said, you Ukrainian flag-bearing US Americans didn't care about Ukraine until your TV, the media, and your warmongering politicians told you to care so you could blame Russia, the country we've been programmed to hate for a century. And then I also said Russians are far too diplomatic, in my opinion, to the West. The Russians love Americans. I have yet to hear a single Russian tell me that they hate Americans. But whenever I talk about Russians or Russia to the vast majority of US Americans, they just automatically, Putin is evil. Russians are, don't like Americans. This is that. Like, there's not that reciprocity, like this just mutual respect. And it's more of like, like very one-sided. And this is what I criticize of Russians sometimes, that they still think like there could be some sort of like diplomatic or some sort of thing, like, and they still view the West positively, especially younger people. And it's something that I've talked to with several colleagues, several people that have lived here, and they're like, yeah, they don't get it. It's like, we're from there. We know. Trust me, they're never going to like you. They're never going to accept you. Maybe once those people are out of power, maybe if things change and the empire falls, but the way people have been programmed to hate Russia, with every movie, every villain being Russian, like it's just ingrained. Like, they literally hate, like, it's just so, it really makes me sad because Russians don't feel that way about Americans. They, in fact, maybe want to be like that.
Maybe we'll have more celebrities that were in the COG will come out and speak out against it, say some stuff against those people running things. So maybe we can look forward to that, fam. That's it for today. By the way, fam, I have some super rate contributions.
Yep.
And by the way, fam, I don't know if you know, but I got a new friend over on Rumble. Her name is Vicky Lynn. Vicky Lynn. What a great name. I'm out. I'm going to go out tonight. I'm going to look for my own very Vicky Lynn. Vicky Lynn.
Why do you have to tell the chat like what are you gonna do? Like,
Because
you
damn, this
go
is
out, I'm gonna
rodeo.
look for
This
my
is
own.
rodeo night, and I'm going out and I'm getting rodeo in. So if y'all want to help out Pasta with his rodeo, Vicky Lynn, my new friend, fam, Vicky Lynn.
I'm
Just
gonna
go
watch
to-
that documentary.
Go to. I know you are. I'm going to the rodeo tonight. Me and Steve are going to a comedy show and rodeo. $ Pasta Jardula for Pasta's rodeo outfit. That's on Cash App. If you guys want to go and throw a few bucks, you can help out. Of course, we do still have that one. And thank you to all who've been putting money in there. GiveSendGo.com, the Combo Couch Brazil. Fam, I haven't gotten a call from anybody to speak about Brazil yet, but hopefully I will. Who knows?
The chat is interested in your plans, so do tell.
Well, tonight, if you're in town and you want to come to hang out with me and Steve, my good friend Brett Ernst, who's a comedian, he will be performing at the South Point. At the South Point every Friday night, fam. It's a free show. It's a comedy show. It's called The Dirty at 12:30. And they let you know things are going to get heated in there. The Dirty at 12:30. It's one of the best shows, free shows in Vegas. Brett Ernst is going to be performing tonight. Our friend Julio is going to be performing, hopefully. It's going to be the casino and the hotel where the rodeo is taking place. That's the South Point, which is like a mile down the street from our house, fam. Not even, like a half a mile. So we're going to go there tonight. I'm going to go home, take a little nap. And I'm going to go get rodeoed up, fam. I'm going to put my cowboy hat on, my bolo tie, whatever I can afford to buy.
Can you please take a picture?
Fam, Steve might even Instagram live it. We're going to take pictures. We're going to do the whole 9 yards.
Please take
fam.
a picture.
I'm going to find me my own Vicky Lynn, because Vicky Lynn is a friend of mine who donated today. She said, don't wear that house. Vicky Lynn, 1974, so she's like a year younger than me, but she's married, so I got to go find my own Vicky Lynn, fam. But Vicky Lynn did throw some money in there today. We do have some super rays. AREM, Combo Couch rocks. Keep elevating the truth and others of champions of journalism. Thank you so much. AREM said that you nailed it, Fiorella. I think that came in during the Alex Jones Kanye section. Trey Wright, thank you for the Super 8 contribution, fam. It is always appreciated on the couch. Guys, remember, we have a Patreon. We have our membership over on Rockfin. If you can afford a few extra bucks, $9.99 a month gives you Rockfin's premium membership. We want you to go over there and watch the show because that's the way the platform is built for premium content, but we will never put everything behind a paywall completely. You can always watch it all on YouTube or Rumble in case we do talk about COVID or election stuff. Rumble is the place to be. So go on over to Rumble, hang out with my good friend Vicky Lynn. You can always leave a couple Rumble rants. Remember the GiveSendGo.com. The Convo Couch Brazil is up. Fam, what do you got going? You going to be on the news desk today, tomorrow, in the next couple days?
Tomorrow night for you guys. Tomorrow evening for you guys.
All right. So go check fam out. You can check that out on Rumble if you like. $ Pasta Jardula for Pasta's rodeo outfit, fam. I'm going to get a nice, I want to be a rhinestone cowboy, fam. What do you think about that?
Fam, I think is it buffalo that they go after? I think the buffalo should be free. And I think I'm for the free buffaloes. I hope they escape from the rodeo.
Fam.
Sorry to rain on your parade.
Buffalo. There's bulls, but there's no buffalo.
But bulls, okay, sorry, bulls. I hope the bulls escape from the rodeo.
Fam.
It's like the Spanish thing. They do the same thing. And I, when the bull literally attacks the dude.
Yes. You feel happy about that for some reason.
Yeah, because they shouldn't. Animals aren't meant to be in a circle. That's fucking dumb. Like, let them roam free. At least until we have an Earth. I mean, who knows? Fam, what do you know about country? You don't know anything about country, fam. Do you know how to line dance? Because I know how to line dance, fam.
No, but that's the thing. Steve says I have to learn how to line dance quickly.
You do. It's not that hard. If you can dance salsa, merengue, line dancing is just.
Of course, that's like
easy.
This is white people dancing over here. This is like easy shit. Like, come on.
No offense.
It's white people dancing. We know that, fam. Fam, that's it for this week. We'll be back Monday, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a couple panels there. Oh, let me put this up while I can right now too, as well. Oh, fam, come on. It's a rhinestone cowboy. Look at it, fam.
I think the chat's with me on the bulls.
Fam, I'm gonna be a rhinestone cowboy tonight, so I don't know. You can hate all you want.
Yeah,
let me show you guys
horse, ride a cowboy.
What we have in store this Tuesday, guys. I don't know if you heard about this. We're doing it up, fam. Yeah, this is happening. So be there. is there a compromise between the anti-imperialist left and the Ron Paul libertarians? Watch live this Tuesday and find out. You got Jimmy Dore, Comic Dave, David Smith, who's been a libertarian leader as of late with the new Mises Caucus, Jimmy Dore, and Pasta Jardula. Fam, let me add this here really quick. This is what's going on this Tuesday, December 6th at 12:30 Pacific. Smith Door 24 is a compromise still possible. Fam, you see the purple I got around me and Jimmy? That's to represent non-team sports. Red and blue together equals purple. Independent thinking. That's why we have the purple. On the left, they have the gold, fam. That's for the libertarians. That's
Gold?
this Tuesday. We're going to hash some stuff out. We're going to talk about some positions on China, positions on Russia, Ukraine. We're going to talk about a little Medicare for all, fam. All right. We're talking about the ideological handcuffs that come with the Libertarian Party. But is there a compromise available? Because they seem to be the only anti-imperialist, anti-regime change party out there right now that's speaking up. You got Howie Hawkins leading the Greens and talking about funding the Ukraine war. Guy is just out of line, out of control. But that's this Tuesday, fam. And plus, we have our show on Monday. And I will have some pictures of me being a rhinestone cowboy, fam.
Yeah, you should put something special for the Patreon and members of the Rockfin.
You know what? I'll put the pictures up on the Patreon, and I'll put them up on Premium Rockfin. So, and then on Monday we'll release them all for free. If you ain't got Steve's Instagram, go get that, because that might be the way to go. Because he says he's going to live stream it today. And fam, I'm gonna go get a piece of field and let it be hanging out my mouth, fam. Piece of field.
Jesus Christ.
So
all right, you have fun with that. I hope the bulls run free. Just be careful. I'm going to tell them not to attack you, but I thought you were a vegan. Excuse me.
I'm going to stay away from the bulls, fam. I'm there for just the
you should free them.
girls.
You should open up the gates. Say,
fam, I'm not getting near those things because that bull will come out and kick me right in the head. I'm staying away from it. I have no experience with bulls, and I won't have it. So that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Get back to us. We'll see you Monday for Pasta Jardula.
Fiorella.
Convo later.
Convo out.